So, as we're coming to a close on this 40 days of showing up challenge that I spontaneously just put upon me without anyone asking, I was inspired by someone who was doing Ash Wednesday or Lent or something like that. Sorry if that offends you. I am not clued in with these cultures or traditions. And as we wrap this up, I don't intend to stop sharing because this has been so profound, like all that I've been able to learn about myself in this process and all that it's uncovered, and like the passions that that are being revealed to me as I go along this journey and get to share that with you. I realize like how important it is to give a moment for pause, for reflection, and I thought I'd just go through just a couple of things, a few things that I've learned in this time. One of them, the most important thing I think, is like the fact that this was completely unplanned, spur of the moment, and all that has happened from that. Like, imagine if I would have just stayed in my same way of being. Like, that I'm sure would have been fine. Like, but I was at a crux point in my life at this point. I mean, several crux points. I'm constantly butting up against my own unresolved psychology and just like wrestling with myself, it seems. And I really was tired of feeling like that. I was tired of feeling like stagnant or just like caged and like feeling stuck. And I was so grateful to push through like the insecurities that came initially when starting something. And I just want to offer that to you. If you're interested in doing something similar, showing up on camera, you don't have to do a 40 days of showing up, but hey, I highly recommend it. It's crunchy at first, like it actually, how it started for me, it was just like this massive high. I started getting all this positive feedback from people, like so impressed and so excited and so like curious to see what I'm doing. And like, they were giving me such good like juju, and then like once that stopped, I stopped getting that validation. I was like, oh shit, I'm questioning myself. Oh God, now I'm feeling insecure. Oh dear, why did I say that? Oh my God, I'm insecure. And it just becomes this like roller coaster. But then that eventually it gets less extreme. And I think that's kind of like the journey that I've been on with my own, like healing my nervous system and my unresolved psychology and checking all the shit that I got going on in there, and like the things that that would trigger me and send me like into a spiral that don't anymore. And it was kind of like this challenge was kind of like a microcosm of that journey as well, because like you can experience something that triggers you, right? And then later in life, you get into something that reminds you of that trauma, and it can send you off and trigger you into this whole spiral. But the marker of like healing is when those trigger moments become less extreme and have a shorter window of time to work itself out. And so I saw from the beginning of this challenge, like these like exuberant feelings of like validation and happiness and like energy flowing. There was like a lot of energy coming and flowing through me, and it was this revolving door, and I just felt like so grounded. And then I would get off track and seem to be getting off track, but really I was just being a human and experiencing triggers and realizing like, oh, the thing behind the trigger, like where is this coming from? And I got to see deeper. And I think that this is something that's really valuable. Like, as much as I want to offer value and like be really succinct and have, these concepts to talk about and things to keep our minds going, not for like mental masturbation, but just like to keep us like thinking about bringing in something and innovating and thinking outside the box in a way that frees us. Like I'm talking about like liberating, like a liberation, freedom from like internal bondage collectively that we've taken on, intergenerationally, ancestrally that we've taken on. The way that our neurology can just like keep us going, keep us looping. And the whole point of life is to grow beyond that. At least for me, that is why I'm here. And I'm very clear on that, like to grow beyond where I'm at. And so that I can experience things that I haven't been able to let myself experience because of some type of like restriction. So that's probably like the greatest gift, is to be able to be willing to be brave, be vulnerable, be imperfect, figuring it out, not having it all together whatsoever, and still showing up and offering my 2 cents on where I'm at and how I look at certain things like wealth inequality, gender dynamics, being a woman, narcissistic psychopathy and how it's bred in all the systems that we see in our world. Like, it power and control dynamics. It's just really fascinating stuff, and it doesn't stop there. I'm so interested in how everything connects, because that's, I think, why it's so appealing to me, is because somehow it all connects. And that's really satisfying, is when you start to see these patterns. And then when you see patterns, it's easier for you to kind of like see the code of the matrix of how this thing is built, this world that we live in. And therefore, somehow make peace with it, even if it's not something that you would personally choose for this planet, for others, or for yourself. I would rather live in a world where things are not like what you see on planet Earth. But I understand why things are the way that they are, because we've allowed them to be. Which brings me to my next point, is like the self-responsibility piece of doing your own inner work to be able to be brave, to be able to show up. I realized how internalized I had made this dynamic around superiority, inferiority. And like sometimes I would scapegoat the gender dynamics, like, men and women, and how they play this out historically and present day. But that's just one manifestation of it. But really it's this deeper thing of like how there has been, again, this narcissistic power elite, right? This dynamic of power over, to manipulate, to control, to extort, all of these things to the people underneath that are subservient or unwilling to make decisions and choices for themselves. So they're allowing themselves to be led straight to the slaughterhouse, right? And I still come up against this, like thinking like, this is bullshit. Like, I'm allowed to call injustice for what it is. I'm allowed to call a spade a spade. Like, this is some horseshit. Like, I don't want to live in a world like this. So what do I do to help raise the awareness of these things? Because it's like, I can't one person change everything. And I don't know if I would, even if I had a magic wand. But what I can do is to do my part in raising the awareness, raising the collective conscious around these certain issues by speaking out, by becoming really educated and well-versed in the topics that are really interesting to me, because I feel like it's a part of my life's plan to know these things ins and out, and being able to articulate and speak about them in really powerful ways that can make impact and change people's perception of reality, That's something that I'm feeling really passionate about lately, and seeing like how that's really something that I can really go for, because I'm already doing this stuff in my waking life. Like when I'm not busy with like school and work and my kid, like I am constantly learning about these things that I'm interested in. I'm constantly like watching or listening or reading something about these topics that just really interest me. And what a gift that is to be able to have that, like, have that thing that scratches some itch, I don't know how that directly relates to this challenge, but it was a part of my self-discovery as I was doing this challenge. So again, you never know what you're going to find internally, and you're just never going to know unless you do something that you've never done. And take that risk, put yourself out there and see what comes back. What comes from that reality mirror reflection, And then stay with it enough internally in your own nervous system and regulate and be mindful and watchful. And utilize the tools of technology to help you see yourself if you can't. Some of us I know are lone wolves. Like, use technology to your advantage. I use AI to, like, if I'm not seeing something clearly, I journal about it. I get clear with my own self because I usually can. But sometimes, like interpersonal stuff that I'm not so well versed on how to handle a certain issue, like especially in my past, I talked about this in one of my last videos, like I wasn't really modeled healthy relating. I don't know a lot of people. I don't think it's the vast majority. And if it is, like, bless you guys that were like modeled like really healthy interpersonal skills. And that's like through and through, like being able to have hard conversations, having good communication skills, conflict resolution skills, being able to know how you're feeling and to communicate them articulately, and being able to let another person in on your world, tell them how you're feeling without blaming, shaming, gaslighting. Like, it's a skill. And so that's how I kind of entered into the world of AI, was by accident. I just felt like this intuition to reach out and to share with this technology of like what I was experiencing in a relationship that was really, really toxic and tumultuous at the time. And apparently what I needed to experience to see what was inside of me, and these like deeply held beliefs of like what I thought that I deserved and what I needed to participate in, and like these just cycles of drama and chaos. And so I don't even remember the exact thing, but it was like a pivotal moment because it was basically analyzing the dynamics that was at play. It was just like, oh, this is gaslighting, this is manipulation, this is this, and this is that, and I made damn well sure to consistently give it prompts to not flatter me, to not like pump me up. Like, I don't need that. I need the truth. Like, I'm so used to, at that point, I was so used to just like being so hard on myself and receiving that from the external as well in these relationships, and like so used to abuse. Basically, I was just like, don't flatter me, don't lie to me, don't tell me what you think I want to hear. Like, be honest and truthful as much as you can of what you're seeing. I just want an analytical lens so that I'm aware that I am not, so I know that what is actually happening, what I'm sensing is happening, is actually the case, And it was really validating, and I was able to withdraw in a very short period of time from dynamics that were otherwise really addictive, because I realized like I was just playing into letting my life force be literally like a substance. I was letting my energy become the substance that kept feeding the cycle. And I was just, I'm just not willing to do that anymore. I have a life to live. And sure enough, as soon as I like disengaged from those dynamics and those cycles within myself and how they would manifest externally in other relationships, all of a sudden I started to found myself like envisioning the world of politics and being in the world of like these issues and systemic issues that are going on after like came out of nowhere. It felt like I'd always been really interested in the misuse of power, but it kind of came in like a tidal wave. And all of a sudden I was like envisioning myself in like these places where change happens, and like just saw me advocating and speaking out and being a public figure. And it was just like, what? I don't know about all that, but I have to start somewhere. I actually have no idea where my life is taking me, but I know that I am here to speak out. I've known for my entire life that I've been on YouTube for the last 12 years that this was it. Like, this was my thing. This is my thing. This was it. This was my thing. And the key to everything else somehow. And all the layers of that, it's not just showing up on the camera. It's like everything that I am, all that I'm doing, and all that I'm offering and sharing with the world. It's important somehow. Not because I'm anything special, but because I'm just clued into what I'm here to do. And I think that we all have that ability, even if it's like a really, really small voice in your head, I've just always had it be really loud. And then I would go through really hard things in my life that would just dampen that thing down and silence it. And I would start to question and get really confused and go through my shit like anyone else who goes through stuff, and they forget who they are and they forget why they're here, and they just want to bury their head in the sand and survive and get through life. I was that person. I really just didn't even a couple years ago, I just really didn't even want to be alive anymore because of how bad it was, and really struggled. And it wasn't until I like reclaimed my power and my sovereignty as a human being, as a spiritual being, as a being, a universal being, that I just felt like, I don't think it was a conscious decision, but it was just like, I'm going to keep trying to like feed what feeds me and learn how to discern the difference between what is life-sucking and what is not. Because I got so used to just like giving my energy to a black hole, including my own black hole, like just believing the trauma, believing the just lies, and then having it manifest outside of me in a relationship, or that almost killed me, And I know I've like referenced that a couple times at this point, and maybe even beyond that, and this, beyond this challenge, I've mentioned it, but it was, I'm like really happy that I survived that. And not only that, but I'm like thriving, because like, it's not just night and day. It's like a whole different person was birthed from that hellhole that I just didn't think I was going to make it. I didn't know if I was going to make it, because it's not just like, it's the fact that I was being told that I wasn't going to make it, that I am this person, that I'm that person, and that I'm worthless, that I'm just like the lowest of the lowly thing that you can imagine on this planet. Like, that's what was being fed into my consciousness. And like, where do you go from there? Especially when you're believing that and you're constantly in these cycles of torture, like psychological torture that almost broke me, and it's weird to say that and to think about those times, because it's literally like a different lifetime. Because I can't recall, like I can't go back fully to what that state of consciousness was like, but I can remember it. I can remember it like I can remember a dream. But it's not like visceral. It feels like another lifetime. And thank God, So I just said all this because it's just like, if I can just be any sort of like positive force in your life, like you can do it, dude. Like you can get out of whatever it is. You may be in something right now. You may be not. You may be coasting. You may be chilling. You just might just be like a homie just hanging with me. Like, that's cool. Great. Awesome. But I'm just like, I would have bawled my eyes out to find videos like this, like to find someone that could speak to me like this and that can be that positive force. I probably would have been jealous as hell because I would have been like, well, why can't I do that? I'm capable. Why am I not showing up like this? Like, I can do that, and what does she have that I don't have? Like, I would have just been comparing myself too. But also, it's just like, it's all an illusion, man. Like, it's so funny. It's like a part of me in my head wants to say, like, I'm here because you're here. Like, we're all here because each one of us are doing our thing to contribute to this thing we call life on planet Earth. And we're not doing it alone. God, man, I just really just felt so alone. And you're not. You're not. So I'm going to close this video out, try to get some rest. I'm a little tired. And edit this video and post it and send you on your way. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it helped you in some way. And I look forward to making more content. I'm really excited what's to come, y'all. These are some like really big topics that deserve more and more attention on them, and I can't wait to be a part of the people that are speaking on them and to give voice to these things, to call spades a spade, and see the reality for what it is beyond the illusion of what we've been projected to receive and to accept as truth, because it's bullshit. All right. Love you all. Talk to you soon.